Hey guys, John here from eTrailer.com. Today we have our 2019 Ram 2500 and we're going to be taking a look at the Buyers Products black aluminum ladder rack. This is a great way to get some larger cargo or just extra cargo to our job site or to our destination, and it puts it up above our bed so it gives us more room to put stuff in our bed and on top. Plus, with longer cargo like our ladder we have up here at the top, we can push it forward a little bit so it hangs over our cab. That way it's not hanging out nearly as much back here down where it's closer for other people. Our ladder rack has an 800-pound weight capacity and an aluminum construction that also has a black powder coat finish. That means that we're not going to have to worry about rust or corrosion even if our paint gets scratched while we're working. Our load stops are adjustable, so not only do we have our tie downs that helps secure our cargo, our load stops will also be adjusted up next against our cargo. So if we turn this adjuster knob down here, it loosens it up. We can slide it the length of our crossbar just to give us some extra support. The legs on our ladder rack system can be adjusted along our bed rails. So if we have something like a toolbox up here, we can move them a little bit further back to accommodate that. Typically, when you don't have anything up here, you do want to move them up a little bit closer towards the cab, so that way we can have something hanging more over the cab and not behind our vehicle. In this specific instance though, our truck has a drop-in bed liner, and the way it's designed prohibits us from being able to put the mounting hardware up this close. So just keep that in mind when you're looking for a ladder rack system. Now that we've gone over some of the features of the ladder rack, let's hop on over to the garage and install it together. To begin our install, you want to open up the package and then get all your hardware laid out. It'd be a good idea to reference your instructions just to see what hardware goes together and then lay it out accordingly. It makes the process a lot easier and a lot quicker. We'll start off by taking our load stops here and installing them onto the brackets on top of our crossbars. There's one side that has 3 holes, and we're going to be using these 2 holes for the install. So take our M8 bolts and nuts, install it onto here, and we'll just snug it down. I really like these load stops because they're really easy to adjust along the crossbars, and so depending on what kind of cargo we have on top of our ladder rack, we can use this as extra support as opposed to just having tie downs holding the cargo. And later we'll show you there's just an adjuster knob on the bottom that will loosen up to slide the bracket along top of the crossbar, just to accommodate different cargo widths. So we'll repeat this process for the other side, and then we want to make sure that the edge that stands up on the load stop is facing inwards, because that's going to be what holds our cargo in place. Once we have our load stops in place, it's time to install the legs onto the crossbars. There's a top bracket here with 2 holes on either side. We'll line that up with the M10 bolts on the bottom of our crossbar. Now these bolts are already installed on the crossbar, so that's not something we're going to be pulling out of the package. And then we will install a washer, a lock washer, and then our lock nut. And this we just want to barely start. We just want to get it started enough that the hardware stays in place, because when we get the other leg installed, we're going to lift the entire system up, and then we'll adjust it to make sure that the leg here has the same amount of space on either side when it's installed on the bed. So we'll repeat this same process for the other side, and then we'll get it installed onto our truck bed. Grab your tape measure, and then we're going to lift this up and set it on our rails. Be sure that the longer piece of this bracket will be facing towards our truck cab. And for our front crossbars, this longer piece will be facing towards the rear of our vehicle. So when we lift this in place, we're actually going to turn around and face the brackets that way. Set this here, grab our tape measure, make sure our crossbar is centered over the leg, make sure we have the same amount of space on either side. And then we're also going to measure to make sure that our bases are the same distance and sit at the same place on our rails. So now we'll grab our brackets that look like a J, and this piece is going to go up and under our bed rail system here. And we'll grab our M12 hardware. So this bolt piece will go up through our bracket for our leg system, and then we'll follow the same process with the washer, the lock washer, and then our nut. And keep in mind, we don't want to tighten down. We'll snug this down so it doesn't move off the bracket, but we don't want to tighten down any of the hardware until we've made all of our adjustments. So even with the hardware up top for our crossbars, we don't want to tighten that all the way down, because we'll want to make some minor adjustments just to make sure everything's sitting dimensionally in the same spot, so that everything's squared. It gives us the most support and structure for our system. So we've got all our hardware loosely installed now. The next step is to make sure that the base or the leg of our crossbar system is the same on both sides. It's sitting in the same spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from our stake pocket here out to this bracket, and then just line it up. And then once we know everything's lined up, which that measurement's the same over there, I'm going to tighten down this hardware, and then we'll make any fine-tune adjustments with the crossbar system up above. So we've taken our measurements for the crossbar system. We've got everything tightened down. We have just as much length on this side as we do on the other side. Let's tighten down the hardware. Our install is complete. We're ready to toss some cargo up there and get heading down the road. And that's going to complete our look at the Buyers Products black aluminum ladder rack on our 2019 Ram 2500. Thanks for watching.